ask you one question.
I didn't hear time though. Do you guys have an ideal number of kids that you want for the future?
After 2, I'm ready to close up shop though.
Listen to me. Anybody lay their hand on this boy, I'll cut off your fucking head. Bro, let's say you get to your number, yeah? Have you man ever thought of like your method of contraception after? This is what I'm saying, bro. I'm not sniffing my thing,
Yeah,
bro.
it's mad. Everyone could tell you something is horrible, but if your dad tells you, nah, it's fine, or it's gonna be okay, or don't worry, like there's an extra layer of like confidence you feel.
Hey, what's your number?
Ada Abraham.
Boom. So how's everyone doing today?
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
How you doing?
Off your phones,
Real
everybody.
talk.
We
No
need
phones,
we
fam.
need engagement.
We've had
today.
complaints.
You know what's
Yeah.
crazy? I'm sorry. You don't make the standard. I'm this one.
Michael, now
I'm trying to purify my mind,
just
fam.
saying,
Man.
But what are you gonna say, bro?
She's lost weight.
Nah,
in
chill, man,
good
chill.
places.
Is it?
That's what I'm saying, man.
Oh no, what do you think about that statement?
About who, sorry?
Huh? I don't know.
Make the stallion.
I don't even know who that is.
Let me show you.
Nah, man. Your explore page must be dark, fam.
Nah, it's not done.
No, wait. Question though, yeah? Bro, who's been mashing up the joint, you see our page, SP Live thing, the Explore page, who's been mashing it up? No.
Is it mad?
Someone's mashing it up.
Yo, between me and you,
Yeah.
I know who it is.
It's definitely not me.
I'm not gonna say it is.
Who is he?
Off camera.
Wait, let me ask you one question.
I didn't hear time though.
That's what I was thinking as well.
Who is it?
Bro, because it's not what I logged in like 4 weeks.
Bro.
I logged in time.
The thing is,
I use it just for story and I'm out.
Literally, I don't search for anything.
I roll out. I roll out, fam.
That is
Do the
trash.
story and I'm out.
You see that on, bro?
The first time I was at Explore page, I thought exactly the same thing.
It's mad, man.
But yeah, man. Anyway, so guys,
What are you saying, fam? What are you saying, fam?
Sorry, before you start,
yeah.
sorry. Do you man remember Salty, the Bible?
Yeah, salty. What's the bun that you okay. What you talking about salty?
Hold on, wait, why?
No, I was just thinking, like, I was talking to someone this week, and I was thinking, like, did you ever have like salty in your childhood?
Yeah,
like,
when?
Sunday
Yeah,
school?
no.
Thinking about like.
We still watch the videos, fam.
That's what I'm saying,
fam.
I know it's random,
The
but
thing that just popped into
you know
your
what I'm
head,
saying?
bro.
You don't know about salty, man. You managed to go check.
Alright, cool. Talking about
You are
kids and
playing,
that,
innit?
talking about kids and
Oh,
that.
salty. Yeah.
Yeah, the singing songbook, yeah. Anyway. We leave it at that.
You know what I'm saying? We leave it at
Talking about kids and that. Do you guys have an ideal number of kids that you want for the future? Let's say money wasn't a factor.
Meta.
Wait. Let's go around.
That's a
You see,
meta.
you start.
You know what
that's
it is,
five.
yeah?
Wait.
It's free.
It's three. It's a
You
meta.
know what it is? I used to always say I wanted 4 in it.
Yeah.
Then I got older.
Then what? The cost of living started.
Then you start deep
clock
in
the
that
bag per
4.
kid.
You know what? 2's alright. You know,
Okay.
half is alright. You know, but I wanted 4 initially because I'm one of 3 in it.
Okay.
And I've always felt like sorry for my sister. She didn't have a girl to kind of chill with. She had to be close to my mum. Whereas me and my brother had each other. So I always wanted 4. But now I'm happy.
So
I'm happy.
if
with
money
2.
wasn't a factor, you'd say 4.
But I want to be like active in their life, innit? And the age I'm getting now, it's like,
If you have the 4th one.
yeah, man, I'll be
You're
tired
getting
from.
old. You think you're getting old?
I mean, I feel not really.
Okay, wait.
It's in the mind, bro. It's in the mind.
We'll
I
get
like
to
that.
one. We'll
It's
get to
good
that
for
one.
you to say that because you know
get to
next
that.
year.
Wait. Hey, what's your number?
Ada Abraham.
I'm trying to get 10.
Nah, legit, yeah. I can't lie. I don't have a number.
That number.
As in, bro,
Wherever we
to the point, like he said, yeah. If it's not like a financial thing,
Yeah.
bro.
Then life is life.
Bro,
But there needs to be a cap though.
I mean,
At what point?
if money's not a factor, why should there be?
I won't be Nick Cannon, boy.
I don't even remember their names.
Nah, but alright, cool. You know what it is? I'll be honest here. Like the financial aspect is one factor, but then also like the emotional kind of like being there for them, involvement. That's also an aspect. So I don't know what's realistic. I don't know what my capacity is in it. So I feel like you just have to take it as it comes. Okay. And then like just have to assess like, okay, nah, this is.
I feel like at a point you look at it's ridiculous.
Yeah, man.
You can't get to double
But you
figures.
say that though.
Double figures is nuts.
Mad.
Hold on.
Take it in this day and age is
Mad.
Alright, cool.
It's ridiculous.
You say that, yeah, but
Why though?
I know one
it's
family.
wrong.
Hold on, bro, hold on. I know one family, yeah, in Sierra Leone. When I went back when I was younger, yeah, bro, they had 19 kids.
My mum is one of like 18.
Wait, same dad.
Your mum.
Yeah,
Same
one
dad.
of
How
18.
was the
19.
relationship with the dad and all the kids?
Maybe there was like maybe 3 or 4 that were like someone else, but
How was the relationship?
majority.
That's mad, fam.
How was his relationship with the kids though? All 19.
Yeah, I don't know.
See, that's the
But
issue.
bro, I can't like
the
they're all in that same compound,
No, but
fam.
the thing is, all of us here can have 19 kids if we want.
Yeah.
That's not the question.
Nah, that's
How many
wrong,
do you
fam.
want?
Do you want?
I won't be a good dad to all of them.
want.
That's the thing.
I hear. Alright, cool. I'll say. Alright, I'll say 4.
4, yeah.
But I don't want to put a limit on it.
Yeah.
This guy's got
No.
Hear me out. The reason why I say I don't want to put a limit on it because if I get 5, or I get 6, or I get 3, or I get 2.
Nah, this guy's gonna just.
No, I'm not too fast.
Fast.
I could get 2 kids and be happy. I could get 1.
Okay, I get what you mean.
I'll be happy. I can get 5. I'll be happy.
So you just
know what
don't
I'm
mind.
saying?
You're
So
not gonna actively stop.
Yeah, like, but
Yeah.
I think ideal sweet spot, like Bissy said, I feel like 2
Okay,
boys,
so-
2 boys, 2 girls. But because I've got nieces, yeah, and I know what it's like raising girls, bro, I'm not sure if I'm really on the girl thing, bro.
Really? I wanted a girl first, you know.
I don't. Too many.
Okay.
Too many. It's a bit,
Really?
bro. Girls are hard to raise, you know.
Okay, question.
Tough.
At what point, after how many kids do you look back at it and tell your wife like, alright, cool, maybe we need to relax now?
We'll get a section.
Like, what's like your max? Where it's like,
10 is
okay,
mad,
this is
come on now.
ridiculous.
Fair. When you get to double digits,
You can't just say you don't have it. Like, at what point is it like, alright, babes, maybe.
I can't like after 5 for me
When
now,
she's
you know,
struggling to
I'm keeping it.
push.
Yeah, I was even.
When she's struggling to what?
to push.
I was thinking that. Like when she feels it, like literally.
Yeah, bro. That's
Yeah.
a
That's
good.
another
to be
thing
honest,
to
that's
take
up
into
to her.
consideration.
Bro, imagine you've had 2 kids, yeah, and like your wife is struggling now.
That's what I'm
As in,
saying.
like the second child was like took a toll on her body.
That's what I'm saying.
then
You might have to
it's
bake
knock
off, you know.
then. It's
Alright,
knock
cool.
off.
You might have to. This guy will load
This
another
is 4.
one. This guy will warm the oven.
This is 4. H, you're 4 as well, yeah?
He's whatever.
Now I'm 4. I said 4.
Okay, Sarah.
Still have beef.
Maybe for 19.
The soul went into the fields to scatter seeds.
Let's do this. We're gonna wait for somebody to.
Hey, listen, Michael, your turn.
It's a 19.
I can't even lie to you. Like, I'm okay with 2. I'm open to an accidental 3rd.
Accidental.
Wait, that's what your wife
Will you
finds.
tell him it's an
Yeah, with
accident?
my wife.
Will you tell them they're an accident? What do you mean?
I'm saying,
Accidental.
I'm saying, I'm going into it saying like, whether God gives me boy, girl, girl, boy, 2, calm. But I know myself. I have potential. I'm a naughty boy.
I get it.
So if 1 more comes as well,
It is what
it
it
is
is.
what it
It
is.
is what it
But
is.
after 2, I'm ready to close up shop.
Go ahead.
Now I want to ask one question after O says his.
No, but
Alright.
Quick one.
what's your ideal though? That's what I want to know.
I already said 2.
No, I said 2,
But
you
if I
said
get a 3rd one, I won't be mad.
I'll say man.
Okay.
I won't be mad.
Mine is 3 still. You already know 2 boys, 1 girl.
I get it. You even know
You've
the
said
names,
that
no,
from
you
day.
can't
You
do that.
said it from day. You got names, everything.
Like, if you really watch the pod, I think you might have said the names before, but we'll
I
keep
think I
it.
even know the names off
You
my
get
heart.
me?
I
You
know-
might
I
have
know
to-
the
If you know the names, if you know the names of all those future kids that he wants to wait, hey, don't give it away.
Don't give it.
If you know,
Let them
you
guess.
get 3 tickets to our next event. If you know the names, comment the names there of all those future kids. You get 3 tickets.
So, okay, cool. So we have 4. We had your preference was 2, right? And you got
2 and an
3,
option.
yeah? Me personally, I like the idea of having multiple siblings. So for me, it's either 3 or 4. But again, it's similar to actually no. Who's the one that said it depends on the wife? It was you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I don't mind having 3 because I like the idea of having multiple siblings. But if my wife can handle 4, then I don't. Do you know what I mean? Then you get me, like then 4 can run as well. Because like I grew up in a house. I've got multiple siblings. Obviously, I'm the oldest, but I just like that idea of having like a network of people. Like
That's a network.
Is it not a network?
One of them will be Mbappe.
Just
keep trying,
No,
fam.
but is it not a network? Look at how your life is patterned.
To
It's
be
a
honest,
network.
yeah,
It's a
it's true,
network.
it's
Like,
true.
even look at your life. It's a network, no?
Yeah, it's true.
Exactly. So it's a network that is for the people that they've got your best interest at heart.
Yeah,
You don't
that's
necessarily have to care about the rest of the world. It's right there at home.
It's true,
So,
man. Family's everything.
the multiple
I hear
sibling thing is good, but hey, do you have the little...
Yeah, quick one. So obviously we're saying like the number, yeah. Let's say you get to your number, yeah. Have you man ever thought of like your method of contraception after? Like how would you stop?
What, a little snip?
Gang.
But for
So
you
what?
or the
Vasectomy? You're saying vasectomy?
They might be saying it's reversible,
man,
and
I
I don't
won't,
know
I
about
won't.
that.
for you or the woman?
Nah, I don't think I'll do a vasectomy. Unless I'm doing a madness, I'm at 5. Yeah, I'll be at
5 after like 8 years. Not 5 kids after 8 years. Bro, you gotta chop your teeth.
Hey, yo.
I'm not wearing a dom in marriage, I'm sorry.
No,
That's
I
mad.
hear you.
No, real talk though.
Between me and you, mine personally is just pulling up.
Pull out.
Cool. Wait, let's go round. Let's go round. Wait, let's go round.
Yes, I am, bro.
Wait, let's go round. You said pulling out.
Pulling out,
What would your preferred? You've had kids already. It's looking a bit tight now. You need to chill out. What's your method?
This smell like a gymnast, boy.
So we have 2 for pull out. So we got 2 for pull
These
out.
men are going. These men are having at least 5 kids. That's where the oopsies are coming from. That's where the oopsies are coming from.
That's why he account for accident. I see
of course.
wise man. He knows himself.
Pull out games.
What about you? What would you choose, Mister? I can ask the question.
This is what I'm saying, bro. I'm not snipping my thing, bro.
Bro,
mad.
can you tell
I'm
me it's
being-
reversible? It's
and I'm-
something they could come and tell you straight
I ain't
after.
snipping my thing,
Bro,
I'm sorry.
and
I ain't snipping.
I'm not even trying to force my wife to do anything as
I
well,
hear
fam.
you,
Bro,
I
it
hear
might
you.
have to be a.
This
Might have to be a put. Oh, God, how can you pull out though?
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm not pulling
In
out.
marriage?
I'm sorry, it's not
At least
happening.
your child.
I'm not pulling out.
In marriage?
I won't lie though. Obviously, I get what you mean. You can't force your wife to do
Pregnancy all the
anything.
time.
Like, but
God of
obviously-
miracles.
Hold on. One house.
You can't force your missus to do it. But you know, I heard that they're doing stuff for the man them as well that you don't have to snip.
Impossible.
What are they doing?
What are they doing though?
Tablet.
What, a pill for the man then?
Tablet.
Bro, apparently
You know what it is?
so.
And what does that do?
I need
I
one
don't know
to
what it
test
does.
this
I
for
ain't
years.
used it,
One
but
pill for the guys.
Yeah,
Apparently,
nah, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
apparently.
I need
Years and
case
years.
studies.
Yeah, I need
Coming
case
back
study.
to
I need
you.
reviews.
Yeah,
I need a sample of at least
I'm
1,000 men.
I'm not on it yet, fam. Trust me.
Yeah, nah.
I was gonna ask you, yeah. You see, like when you guys were younger, yeah. Did like your parents ever come to like any like sporting events that you did or
Yeah.
like any? Because I'm thinking like all of you man, I want to have like bare kids. That's not a possibility for you, man.
Sporting events when they do night shift. Sporting.
They never come to any sporting events.
No,
or-
like, my
Did your parents even
parents,
come parents even?
Yeah.
Like they always make parents.
Of course, they love that one. That's when they find out. But when you on
Who's gonna be next to me?
Invest big
Bro,
time.
some kids, yeah, their parents never came parents.
yeah,
with
that's
you.
wild.
Nah, man.
Like they bring like their older brother or the sister.
Yeah, I used to
or
see
something
that.
like
That's quite
I
sad.
think my older brother came once, but more time it was my
Yeah.
mum.
My
It
mum
was
wants
always-
to
it was
be
always
there,
stiff.
boy.
It was my mum or
We
dad.
always got the
Sometimes
same review.
Boy.
both.
He's a
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
bright
but he
lad.
just talks
But he
too
likes
much.
But he always gets distracted
Yeah.
with
And
his
they still bring
friends,
up my drink.
doesn't concentrate in
Wait,
class.
hold on, so your mum and dad have never seen you play ball?
They did, you know, when I was younger, we had a cup final.
Oh, swear.
What's funny, when I was younger, I used to play centre back.
Oh,
I was a centre
wow.
back. Yeah.
Man, so you're
I'm
not
centre
getting
back.
through.
Bro, you're not getting through, bro. It's
Not
funny,
getting
yeah.
through,
Gaffer basically.
You marks bro like that.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I mean, but you know what's so funny, yeah?
Yeah.
My gaffer told me at the time, yeah, like, kick the ball out.
Get out there.
So every time, yeah, they play the long ball and I run, I just kicked it out. So after the game, yeah, I think I must have been like 9. My mum, yeah, was like, why are you kicking the ball out?
What's wrong with you?
I'm supposed to be playing the game, fam.
But should be maths on that. Why
Every time you see your son, yeah, he runs them because he's
should be thinking? I came to see action. Man, just kicking the ball out, bro.
Hey, yo, no, man, them, the street, they're cool. I like that. That was funny. I mean,
no tech.
just move.
okay, cool. So we're going through like some of the stories we have from like our past and our parents, and you know some of. So in my head, yeah, I want to know what you like guys think a father is. What would you define as a father? So what like are the characteristics that you think a father needs to have? So yeah, I will start from.
Again?
No, he just told us he wants to dismount, innit? So I'll start from this side.
Characteristics of a father.
Of a father, yeah. What do you think a father is? In a simpler.
It's hard, you know.
I'll say just give us three. Just give us three things just keep it simple.
Characteristics of a father. Because it's weird. I could think of characteristics of a man, but then a father.
I want you to conceptualize it. Okay, cool. I'll come back to you.
Yeah, please. I want to really.
But I'm gonna come back to you.
Yeah, I really want to deep the
You've
question.
had time to think as well, so.
Characteristics of a
Yeah.
father.
3 points, my bro.
Damn. Characteristics of a father. A protector.
And you can say some of what they.
I've got it.
An example.
Example, protector, yep.
And a leader.
A leader, okay. Patient, an example, and a leader. Cool. I like that. Okay, why would you say a example?
An example, because I feel like as a father, you basically, like everyone in your family, your wife, your kids, is basically always going to look to you.
To stay.
I got a funny story in it, but no one laugh at me.
No, don't worry.
So basically, yeah, one time,
That's gonna make me laugh.
so one time, yeah. So there's you know, we live where we live in this area, so we got a lot of foxes in it.
Oh, bears, fam.
Don't dead me.
We got a lot of foxes. So I hate foxes. You know, I hate foxes in it. So I think one time my mum must have been cooking, and she must have like opened the back door in it. She leaves the back door open when she's cooking. So I think she must have left the back door open, yeah. And then I must have been upstairs. So then she's come to the kitchen and she's seen a fox inside the kitchen where he's just sitting there like this.
Yeah, that's their house now, fam. That's mad.
Just sitting there, yeah.
That's mad.
Just sitting there. So she's shouting,
Trying to chop.
so I've run downstairs, yeah. I've looked, I've opened the door, I saw a fox. I've closed the door because I'm scared of it. And I'm shouting for my brother, Sam!
Who's next?
Hey, yo,
Who's next?
And what's so funny about that, yeah?
This beast,
What's so funny about that? Bro, it's just following the chain of command.
Yeah, wait.
Nah,
Until the force goes.
I
Bro,
said, Mom, it's above me.
it's above me.
It's above me.
It's above me.
I'm a consult.
I'm a consult.
Wait. So the fox didn't move when your mum shouted your name.
Fam, the thing when
It
the
didn't
food.
move when you shouted
The
your
fox,
name.
the fox was waiting for his food.
Bro, I
I
said
don't
the
cost
thing,
of
like,
leaving
The fox said we eat it.
fam.
my mum was chefing it, bro. It was smelling nice. That fox said, I'm going to die in this place.
That fox said, I'm leaving it.
I'm leaving this week.
You're gonna
Fam,
feed
he said,
me.
what can you not hear? What's going on, fam?
Man said the fox like this.
You probably saw you say what you eat.
Bro, it's like,
I'm waiting this way. I'm waiting.
But you know you were saying about example.
so, like,
Try that next time.
when I say examples, I feel like everyone in that family
Yeah.
looks to the father. Like in that example, you always look to like the next chain in command.
yeah.
So I feel like the woman in a peak situation will always look to the man. Of course, they'll always look to God as well if they're Christian, but they'll look to the man as well. Like a child will always look to their parents. They might look to the mum, or they might look to their father ultimately. And I feel like the man kind of has to be the example because at the end of the day, one, you hold a position of responsibility where it's just like you've got these people looking up to you. So I feel like because you've got so many people looking up to you, you've got this like, not pressure, but there is a certain level of expectancy where you need to make the right decisions and be that guide and mold for the people that are looking at you.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? So that's why I think like an example for a father is good if you set a right example because sometimes it's not always what you tell your kids, it's just what they saw.
Yeah.
It's what they saw. It's what they
That's
saw.
so real. It's so real. So real. That's so real.
Yeah, man.
So okay, cool. We got example, we got leader, and we got protector. Yeah. Cool. How about you?
I'll say provider, protector. That comes with it as like father, husband, and whatnot. I'll say role model, but then I'll also say servant.
Perfect.
That's
Yes.
a great
I'd
one.
say like that dad role is one where it's very sacrificial.
100%.
Like, and that's why having kids is not even a joke, like, because once you have them, like, you start to see how you can't just make a decision for you anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you have to factor them in. Like, all right, cool, I want to do this. How's that going to affect my kids? Or like, how's that going to, like, even like your wife is taking care of the kids, but she needs you home at a certain time so she can go do, like, it's crazy.
Most definitely.
It's crazy. And you always have to think that you now come last. Like, the kids come first. Like, even if there's a finite amount of food, my kids eat first, I'll have the rest. It's not that I'll eat and then the kids will have the rest. Like, you actually have to be a servant. Like, anything that needs to be done, like, in the house, like, or for the kids, you have to make sure it gets patterned. So that servant role, like, you have to be completely selfless. So I'll say that's definitely a big part.
That's a deep
I like that one. Example, and the key one for me was servant. Servant was deep for real. Okay, cool. Hola.
Say,
What is a father to you? 3 things.
power,
Power. Okay, power. Cool.
respect,
Respect. Cool.
and selfless.
Yeah. Alright, why would you say power?
Literally, because again, it does depend on whatever's going on in the household, but the power to choose or decide on what's happening in the house.
Okay.
I'd also say, I think power slightly comes with respect as well. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, you can respect someone, but them having the power to do, like, allow you to agree on something, or not even disagree, or go with something that you said, it's a big thing.
Yeah, so I get what you're trying to say. Like respect is like the role to respect.
Yeah.
You need to have.
Power,
You need respect needs to be there for you to even have that power. So,
Yeah.
so
that-
that makes
It's almost
sense.
like authority in it. So
Yeah,
you know the dad has
yeah.
they have authority.
Yeah.
And it's genuine authority as well, because respect is what you need. You don't want fear. So respect is like the good prerequisite. Well, back to you, bro.
Hi.
I'll say a safe place. I'll say like,
That's a good one.
That number
Safe
one.
place.
yeah, I think with fathers, and even I liken it first initially, even before looking at my dad, like my relationship with God, like I really see the fatherly nature of that relationship. And like when you just speak to God sometimes, I just feel like, yeah, everything's gonna be okay. And I think I can liken that to how it is as an earthly father with your children. Like everyone could tell you something is horrible, but if your dad tells you, nah, it's fine, or it's gonna be okay, or don't worry, like there's an extra layer of like confidence you feel. Even if you look at daughters and their fathers, it's like they want their dad to say they're beautiful.
Yeah.
And if you look at how affected some women are in life because of lack of a father and how it affects their relationship with men, it shows you how important that fatherly role is, and being that safe place, that person that makes you feel okay and everything. So I'll say safe place. I'll say being a solution architect, in the sense that the difficulty of being a father is that you don't sometimes...
I'm sorry, I have to say it. Solution. You could have just said problem solver. You could have just said.
You know why?
You know what I'm saying?
You say,
You
oh,
know
no.
what
I'm just saying, you're seeing.
when I sat here today,
My solution architect.
It's got your power.
in Costa Rica, listen.
In Costa Rica.
When I sat here today, I said I must take on the E-Man
Let's
have it, let's have it.
mantle of E-Man. I have to take it on. So I'm just trying to Am I doing it justice?
No, you are. Anyway,
Take
you said architectural
So
solution.
I think the difficulty with, and it's also a man as well, like as a father, what you're gonna have a lot of is problems being brought to you. So your child, there's an issue here, or dad, what's the answer for this? Why is the world round? Why is this blah blah blah? And to an extent, you need to have the ability to internalize things, digest it, with the help of your wife as well, because it doesn't mean you're alone, but you kind of need to be very solution focused. Like you can't just imagine your kids and your wife comes to you and says there's a problem. There's even an analogy I gave to my girl actually. We were talking about why me as a man, I am more stressed about things than she is in relation to, especially like we were talking about if you were going on a holiday, you're thinking, I can't wait to go on this holiday. You're thinking about the location. I'm thinking of the finances. You know, and that's naturally what my mind goes to, because there's always an assumed responsibility. Because as a man, you're always trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to pattern this type of thing, innit? And the example I gave her is this to try to explain why we are like that. I gave her 2 scenarios of 2 different types of men. In scenario A, there's basically a wife comes to a man and says, we need to renovate this house. And then the man's like, oh, swear down. Yeah, we probably need to still. What are you trying to do? She's like, I just think we need to renovate the house. So man A calls a builder. The builder comes in and says, yeah, you're looking at about 50 grand to renovate this house. Builder leaves, he tells his wife, yeah, we don't have that right now. Maybe like sometime in the future, probably do it. We save a bit, blah, blah, blah. That's man A. Man B now, his wife comes and says, we need to renovate the house. He said, okay, what part exactly do you want to renovate? She says, mainly the kitchen, but maybe the whole house. Okay, let's walk around the house. Upstairs is fine, we could do it ourselves. The living room, we could probably do a light renovation. So mainly we're doing the kitchen. He calls the same builder and he directs the builder straight to the kitchen. Says this is the main part we need to do. The living room, light renovation, upstairs, don't worry about. The quote is 25k because he's narrowed down the issues. Now, he then goes to his wife, okay, we need to save 25k. I've got 10k saved. We have probably another year, I could probably get the 15k. This is where the wife comes in, being the helper. She comes in and says, no, I've got some money saved as well. I've got 5k. So we only need maybe another 10k. You know what, I'm gonna start doing some extra shifts as well to save a bit more. So maybe we can do it in 5 months. Now, both scenarios is the same scenario, but how the man dealt with it breeded a different result. So as a man, we have to always be focused, and as a father as well, to take on things like that and in our minds find a way to create a solution out of it or narrow the problem. And I think where some men or fathers may fail is that you haven't yet understood your role and responsibility as a man or father, and being able to do that exercise of, okay, this is the problem, okay, cool, what is the real problem? Because in scenario A, it was still renovation, but he was able to quickly narrow it down to, you only really need to do the kitchen. But if you don't have that ability, the problem seems bigger. So I think solution architect is a main thing as a man. And then I love your one, bro, servant. It's an absolute servant role. Like, you're not there to, I'm trying to get something for myself. You're there to literally serve. Serve your kids, serve your wife. And like, I always look at men in, like, I come across like, at work, even friends I know now that have kids, like, it's such a hard role, man. Like, it's nothing is about you anymore. Imagine coming from the maddest day at work, and work is stressful, and we're all like in stressful careers now, like, you still have to have that element of energy. Because the thing is, your kid doesn't understand that you're stressed at work.
They don't give a damn, bro.
They're thinking, daddy's home, it's about to go down. We're gonna play, we're gonna enjoy. They're not thinking, they're not thinking, bro, they're gas, bro, they're at the door like, it's energy. So they don't really care that you've just had a stressful day at work.
Imagine being stiff to your kid.
Go and sit down. That's what I remember. And that's what they remember. That's what they remember. That's what they remember. And you don't remember being tired. They don't remember tired.
And you know what's dangerous about that? You know what's dangerous about that? Because if a young child gets that consistently, it's then easy for someone else to appear to present a fatherly role to him, and then can kind of groom him into something. When it comes to like gang culture and things like that, some people find it very easy to groom certain kids, because if their child's, their dad's always giving them, I don't have time. Someone that then gives them time and is there to answer those questions and be there for them and make them feel like outlet and love.
Is able to program your child.
What you guys are saying right now leads me on to like what I think my sort of 3 things are. Like I agree with you first and foremost as being a problem solver. I'm joking, I like your word.
Problems.
But yeah, no, being a problem solver definitely.
That's
like,
why you got into it, isn't it? Because he used better terminology.
Bro, I came with an iPhone 12.
You like,
came with an iPhone 14.
Hey, that's my job. That's my job.
I didn't think of that. Fair enough.
Everybody know your role.
You sit over there.
You sit over there. You try to understand.
But the first one was problem solver, and for all the reasons basically said, basically, obviously as a father, people are going to be looking to like for you to solve problems. Like your family's going to be looking at you to sort of come to the solution for something. So obviously that's the first one. But then as an addition, I think patience is important. And that ties into what you guys were just talking about in a sense where you need to have a certain level of like wherewithal to be able to calm yourself down in certain situations. If your child's pissed you off, you need to be able to handle yourself because they're a child, or even your missus. There's a way you need to be able to interact. You're not interacting with a man, then you're not interacting with other men. You know what I mean? More fragile beings to a degree. So obviously in those situations you need to be able to be patient. And like BC said, if you're not patient, if you snap, if you whatever, that's when, you know, the negative feelings brew, and then it's easier for external forces to be able to influence your household, your ship, your whatever. So for me, patience is very important. And then the next one for myself is being a mentor. In my life, what I've sort of realized is that in a very sort of big way, like my pops has been a really big mentor to me in terms of the different decisions I've made or whatever, or just the way in which I've taken life, because he's always sat me down to sort of just be like, you know, what's actually going on? You know what I mean? If he sees certain patterns or whatever like that, he won't come and be like, oh, you're doing this thing wrong or whatever, but there'll just be patterns that he sees, and after a certain amount of time, he'll be like, bro, I've seen you do this X amount of time, so what's actually the issue? Not even on an angry tip, we'll just sit there and we'll discuss, and he'll give me his feelings. So I think from my sort of life, I've found that sort of angle of it as being a mentor in life has been quite important, because I think that's quite important in conjunction with the patience, because then if you're a mentor and you're patient, there's no external force that can come in, because you're already advising them. Do you know what I mean? You're already sort of building that relationship with them to sort of instill certain values, instill certain sort of decision-making skills, those sort of things. So for me, I think, being a mentor sort of is kind of important. So I think based on sort of my question, I want to ask the group again, who was your dad to you when you were growing up?
Oof. Wow.
Yeah.
Oof. That's a deep question.
That's a deep one, style. It's a deep one, style.
We're digging.
We're delving still, we're delving inside.
Are we doing this?
We're doing it live. And then we're gonna unlock some conversation. Some doors, fam. Unlock some doors.
Let's get some tissues.
Some tissues.
It doesn't have to be so.
My daddy was never
Hug that man.
That's why you can't be real with a man there.
You know what's so funny? Yeah? This is how we men are trauma.
Bro, we just laugh. We laugh.
Jokes.
If we don't laugh, we'll cry.
Jokes. Nothing but jokes.
No, if we don't laugh, we'll
That's
cry.
a good question.
But
He was my father to me.
He would, like,
That's a
when
very
you were
good
growing up, who was
question.
your dad to you? Like, so how would, like, let's start from Karuchi.
I don't mind, bro. You do your thing.
Alright, cool. Look back to you then, because you didn't ask the first
Tried to
time.
do reverse psychology.
Yeah, then
It's there.
No.
Oh,
Who's my dad to me? You know what? One thing I always appreciate about my dad, he's not perfect, but he tries. And like, you lot have met my dad. He's a very likable person.
He's the calmest guy.
He's just so likable. Like, I always say, if someone doesn't like my dad, there must be a problem with them. Like, if someone actually like pissed off I would actually, I'll bang them differently. You know why? Because he's such a nice guy. So it's like,
he's not joking. He's nice.
bruv,
He's lovely.
how can he be pissed off, bro? He's bare nice,
He
man.
doesn't even stress himself.
Bruv, he's too nice.
Definition of I can't come and kill
you know what, drink. He's just so chill.
Definition.
So, like, I've always said, like, he's not perfect. There's areas where you could say, I wish he was more like this or what, but he tries and he's present. Like, I can never say throughout my life that my dad has been present. He's always been there. And you know what? He tries the best with the cards he's been dealt. So like, even his dad passed away quite young. His dad passed away roughly just before my brother was born. So like, there's certain things in which my brother and sister are just 2 years apart. So if you think about it, first child is 2, and then he lost his dad. So it's like, there's certain things in which he didn't really get to like get assistance with his dad, and like, you know, this is your grandchild, okay, give me some insight. So I feel like, and also growing up in Nigeria and the culture and all that stuff, so there's certain things in which he's the way he is because of the environment he grew up in and, you know, how he was taught. So there's things like growing up, like, he's not the I love you kind of guy. I remember I don't even do it as well, and I think I've took that from him. I remember one time, I don't know what I watched, I think it was a sermon. I said, you should tell people you love them. So I did it to my mum. She was very happy, fam. I was like, all right, this means I don't do it enough. I said it to my dad, yeah. He said, thank you. He messaged me back.
Yeah.
He said, thank you. But you know what it is?
safe, innit?
I knew for a fact, this guy was baffed. He was thinking, what? And I know he feels like, my dad shows love from making sure it's weird, make sure you've eaten. It sounds mad, but make sure, my dad, he buys yam every month, innit? He would divvy up between my siblings, all that stuff. My girl will make sure everyone has yam, but that's his way of showing.
Not from an emotional perspective.
It sounds funny, but that's his
we don't like chat.
That's his love language. Make sure have you eaten? He'll go out. He'll buy you food, whatever.
It's very hospitable.
Yeah, that's his way of showing love. So I think who he was to me, I think my calm nature, I think is attributed from him. Just seeing the good in people and trying to see the positive things in everything. Yeah. My dad's just very nice, very positive. Like I said, if someone didn't like him, I'd be very confused. Yeah. So in that respect, yeah. And I think he's learned as he went through the kids. So it was more of a disciplinarian with my brother. But my brother was bare naughty, but he was tough on my brother. Quite tough on my sister. Whereas with me, he'd soften up. Being the last born, he'd soften up a lot. So he never hit me. He used to just lecture me. And you'd think, the hitting will be more efficient. But trust me, it cuts deep. I remember, I'll never forget, it always rings in my head, There was a time I got in trouble. I got excluded in secondary school, innit? And my dad just said, he just said, I'm disappointed in you. And Shuki said, they said, what? Bruv, it cut so deep. And the thing is, how chatty my dad is. He didn't talk to me. He just said, I'm disappointed. Fam? Bruv, it cut so deep.
Have you ever been in trouble so bad that you go to your mum to try and test the temperature of your dad? Mum, what's that saying? Wisdom. Have you ever done that?
That's wisdom.
Yeah, that's wisdom.
That's wisdom.
I beg you chat to him for me. Have you ever done that?
My friend,
I don't know. He's not happy with two shots, bro.
Bro,
I don't know, but he's not happy with two. That's all I know. But I'll talk to him.
Nah, it was deep, fam. But yeah, man,
They should give you a request.
He tries, fam.
Can't sweep the stairs.
Maybe you like down. Maybe you'll calm down.
If you do this, you'll be okay.
Yo, we live the same life. We live the same life. For real.
That was a good one.
Yeah,
For real.
How would you say your dad was to you when you were coming up?
It's interesting, man.
Or who was he to you? Sorry.
So my relationship with my dad, when I was younger, my dad used to treat me like a prince. He used to literally shower me with love. I remember out of him and my mum, my dad never beat me in it. It was always my mum.
Yeah.
It was always my mum. My dad, but there was so much fear I had for my dad. But he never beat me. But he used to treat me like such a prince. I was his heir. No one could, my cousins, my brother, externals, no one could ever lay a hand on me or anything. I remember going to Sierra Leone when I was younger. I can't remember what happened. My dad's a bit of a, not, but he's a bit of he says mad things in it. He can be quite
forward.
Yeah, or aggressive or do you get what I'm trying to say? So I remember when I was younger, something must have happened. I think one kid must have done something. So this guy's just come outside now, yeah? Listen to me. Anybody lay their hand on this boy, I'll cut off your fucking head. Bro, I swear to you, bro, everyone was shook, fam. Everyone was
You know playtime's over. Bro. Playtime's over.
Bro.
Everyone's grabbing their toys and taking their bike. Everyone's going home.
Catch you later.
So what was interesting about my dad is that his words here were always eccentric.
Yeah.
But he had such a big heart. He was always caring, innit? So with him, it's just growing up when I was younger, I always felt very very safe. Very I looked up to him and was he's got me. I just felt very there's someone there that's
protected kind of.
Yeah, type thing. So much so, that I used to buy. Let me tell you another side story, then I'll come back.
Come.
I had my cousin that used to stay with me, innit? So, you know what I'm liking it. Or what I was liking it. I'm safe now.
as hell.
I'm safe now, yeah. Thank Jesus. But when I was younger, yeah, I was so deviant. Like, I had my cousin that was staying around, yeah. So I put super glue on the toilet seat.
Oh my God.
That's so someone would sit down there, yeah. My dad must have gone to sit there. Yeah.
Your dad sat down on
He went to go sit down, yeah. He said, Bro, I said, hey,
Bro,
I said, hey, it was me.
The guy, like,
Bro, must have blamed my cousin, innit? I mean, he must have beat my cousin, yeah.
That is so deep. Like, I'm laughing.
Bro,
that cousin is watching this show saying what?
Bro,
You know if I was the cousin,
and you know what's mad? Deep it.
I'll bang you.
My cousin must have hated me at that time
course.
because my dad loves me so much here, bro. He's not gonna do anything.
Yeah.
So cool. So just deep that scenario now, yeah. So growing up, yeah, but then my dad had bad habits.
Yeah.
Okay.
At the time, he used to drink, he used to smoke, a bit of anger issues, evidently from what the example I just gave. So he had that side to him as well, where it's like he's got flaws. So growing up, yeah, it's just like there was always this paradox with him, where it's just like we're so similar. Everyone used to say to me when I was growing up, "You look so much like your dad." Like if you see us, they're like, "You look like your dad." And I used to behave like him a lot as well. We were very similar in the way we used to behave and our mannerisms. And I'll never forget these words that he said to me. Like when I was a young kid, I think I couldn't have been more than like 8, because he left when I was like 10 years old. He sat me down on his lap, yeah. Bro, he looked me dead in my eyes, bro. And he said, whatever you do, don't be like me.
Wow.
And that's gonna cut deep.
Bro, my dad said to me, whatever you do, don't be like me.
Wow.
Bro, those words have never ever left me, bro. Since he said that, I was like, rah. So what happened from that moment was that, like, I had this weird, like, paradox in my head where it's like, I'm trying to, like, he's got so many great qualities. Like, my dad, like, anyone that speaks about my dad, he's so wise. He's just so clever. He's wise, he's clever, like, he's a people person, like, he's funny. My dad is so funny. Like, if you meet my, he's like, he'll make you laugh. He's so funny. And he's got those other negatives with him. Because like, as I was growing up, I just started to see myself be like him. Like,
And you don't even try
bro,
it.
and it's like, I'm not even trying. Like,
No, he's telling you.
but it's
don't
just
be
like, I'm just like him. Like, in every aspect, I'm just like him.
I see why you said example.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's just like, it was so funny growing up because it's like the man I'm not trying to be like, I'm ending up just replicating and being like. But he's got so many good habits. But it's just like, the bad stuff as well, it's like I'm also finding them on myself. And it's my mum also told me, you're like your dad. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But what's so funny is just like, the revelation I caught like when I got saved was just the parts of my dad that weren't great and the flaws that he had, God kind of was stripping them away from me. And he used certain vehicles and certain experiences to strip them away from me and for me to be cognizant of them, for them not to play the same detrimental effects that they had on him in my life. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So for me, yeah, man.
A wise man learns from some others' mistakes.
Do you get me? So I feel like, to summarize like your question, like who was my dad to me, he was both my example and
Still your example.
it's still my example, but in two different ways, bro. Like, do you get what I'm trying to say? Who I want to be, but also who I don't want to be.
Be an example of what
Do you
to
get what I'm
be.
trying to
You
say?
want to be, but
Wow,
then
that's
to
deep,
walk
you know?
through.
Yeah, man.
Nah, that was, yeah, bro. Listen, you done your thing with that.
That's
one,
difficult,
boy.
you know?
Yeah. Nah, that was
That
really
internal
good,
battle must be crazy.
And because you look like him as well, it's even like,
Yeah.
bruv, I'm naturally gonna be.
Bro.
It's a mad thing, bro.
And because it's your dad, you just naturally gravitate. But love that honesty, bro. Michael.
Bro, my one is interesting, man. Like, what's my dad like to me? It's weird, man.
Or like, who was he to you when you were coming up?
He's an interesting character, very interesting. Like big
Your
man.
dad gave me life, bro.
He's such an interesting.
That chat he gave us that.
A couple of you met him, innit?
Yeah.
He's just sort of interesting character, like, bro. That's just the best way to describe him. Just interesting character. Like, it's weird. Like, you know, was it you that said, oh yeah, like kids don't even care, like, you know, if you've had like a stressful day, you come back, like they just want you as like dad type thing. Like, And that's so important because like I don't know if you guys have this yet. You see how you had like the flashback of when you were 8? Like do any of you ever get like flashbacks of when you were younger? And you're just like, why do I remember this memory? Like it's so weird. Like like one of my most profound ones was I remember like I was in primary school. I just moved like from Niger to the UK and I was in primary school. And then for some weird reason I felt mad ill. In school, like I went to school normal, but during school I just felt mad ill, like weird to the point where they had to call my parents. So they called my dad. I remember my dad came to pick me up, like I was just so ill, like, and then they called my dad to come pick me up. So my dad come pick me up. I was probably maybe like year 4, year 5 maybe. And he's come pick me up, and then like we're walking home in it. And like my house to school was maybe like a good 20-minute walk, maybe. And I'm walking, I remember I was like, probably got like maybe like 5 minutes away from school. I was like, bro, I can't walk. Like I was bare tired and just weak. Like I was walking, but just so slow and sluggish. I just looked at my dad and said, I can't walk no more. And I remember like he carried me, like he put me on his back and he carried me like the rest of the journey home. And I think like must like put me to bed or something like that. So I have like those kind of memories, like even when I was gone. 7 exactly, yeah.
He said that as well, right?
And then, like when I was younger, like you'd read like Bible stories and stuff, like you know, like 5 and stuff. So like I have those memories of when I was younger, like but then obviously as I've grown older, I wouldn't say I'm like the closest with him, but we have like
an understanding.
We have an
working
understanding, like he's like, man, see you, G. Man, see you too, G. I say that. Like, we have an understanding, and even with me, my mirrors yours to an extent. Like, I share a lot of the same vices my dad does. I share a lot of the same vices, like things that, like some of his weaknesses and stuff, and some of like the vices that he has, I have them too. I'm just like, oh shit. But then I seen how he's affected him, and I'm just like, oh snap. But then to bring everything back full circle, I'd say like my dad to me is like, he's an example, or he's the epitome of the, not in like a negative way, but I know what I'm trying to say, but he's the epitome of the mistakes I don't want to make.
Yeah, that's exactly what, do
you get what I'm saying? Bro. Like, he's a very lovely, like if you meet my dad, he's like life of the party, like makes jokes, like, you know what I'm saying? He talks a lot, do you know what I mean? Just a very eccentric dude, do you know what I mean? Gift of the gab, like, do you know what I mean? He's very talkative, like, he's like E-Man, like just bare words that'll just spin your block off, bro. Like, what the hell does that mean? Supercalifragilistic, relax. But in that, like I see a lot of things, and I feel like I'm learning how to be a man from things that he didn't do. So I'm making a conscious effort in terms of like, alright, cool. Like there are some things that, you know, like you did well and stuff, and you know, always gonna appreciate that. But then there's also things that, you know, you fell short on, and seeing as I'm the child, I kind of know what that feels like to have your dad fall short on these things. So me knowing that, I can now implement it, that when I become a father, I'm gonna make a conscious decision that there'll be these things that I won't default on, because I know what it feels like to not have that. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know if there's like this story of like a father who was a drunkard, and he had 2 sons, and then one ended up being a drunkard, the other one grew up never touching alcohol. And when they asked the 2 sons, they asked the drunk son, why did you grow up to be a drunkard? He said, because I saw my dad, he was a drunkard, I became a drunkard. They asked the son who never drunk alcohol a day in his life, he said, how come you never touched alcohol? He said, because I saw my dad drink alcohol. Like, I'm the kid who grew up to never drink alcohol. So that's
deep, bro.
What I feel.
Nah, bro. I like the honesty, man. That's deep stuff, man. And I can see why you chose servant, because that story that sticks in your head is a story of him being a servant.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So
it's such a big thing, even in terms of like, I feel like that's how I show love as well, like acts of service. And I feel like acts of service is such a big thing for me in terms of both giving it and receiving the love because it's something you can't fake.
Yeah, bro.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if I choose to do something for you, like, I wouldn't do that if I didn't F with you. You know what I mean? Like, I'd give you a gift and not care about you. Like, oh, it is what it is. Do you know what I mean?
But spending my time. to
Yeah,
do
but like, quality time is another one. Like, spending
Spend my
time
time to
and
do
like
something.
acts of service, those are things that you'd have to be almost like a sociopath for you to hate someone, but spend a lot of time with them and do stuff with them. So for me, those are really big, man.
Nah, that was good.
Nah,
I
deep.
like that. I like that.
Nah, this
Oh,
is good.
you telling me? How do you sort of answer that question? Who was your dad to you when you were coming up?
Who was my daddy to me? Funny enough, so he's a family of 4. I'm a family of 4 as well. Well, not family, but yeah, siblings of 4. He's the third born, I'm the third born.
Okay.
So it's a bit funny how life played out. I'd say my dad is a very selfless man. He always tried to make ends meet. And I could just see the drive in him from young. When it came to secondary school days, I wasn't lacking in clothes or X, Y, and Z. Well, a lot of people would look at me and think like, "Oh, your parents are off," but he literally had to do what he had to do, man. So Chinese, like let's just say friends came over, Chinese and whatnot, my dad would pattern that. And that's for everyone, by the way, plus his kids. So it was like, like, I was always thinking, where's my dad get this money from? Because I didn't know like exactly how much his job was paying, but I knew he had a job. So I was thinking, okay, cool. This man is slightly a superhero, isn't it? And I used to live in Hackney before I moved to where I live now. I was thinking, okay. There was one time we went to church and he was like, kids, go downstairs. And I was thinking, what? Like, what's there? Next thing you know, I see like the latest Mercedes. Thinking,
My
come on,
God,
man.
what a way to do it. I'm going to use that as a skill.
I'm going for bro, like,
I'm using that.
And the thing is, like, he bought another
boss
car
move
for
still.
himself and he gave it to my mum
What a guy.
to take us to church.
What a guy.
Making ends meet
Yeah.
for real.
Daddy, yo.
Either way.
My man.
Man.
To answer your question, my dad was,
Provider.
well, still is, superhero, selfless man, patient man, you know, annoying as well, but, you know, that's parents. Wise man as well, doesn't like to give up an argument. Funny enough, I'm not an argumentative person.
Yeah, you're not.
Some people may say I am, but you know, depends who you are. But literally, he would literally try to always get the last word in, and I'll just be thinking, there's no need. That's me personally. But nah, to tell you the truth, my dad was literally, still is Superman, and still gonna be Superman until I become the person he is one day, and you know, he meets his makeup. That was
I take that.
serious man.
No, I take that.
Well, still is a serious man, and I wouldn't say I wouldn't want to be like him, but again, like Ibs and Mike and Biss said, there are things that obviously, okay, cool, he's got bad traits and whatnot, but I'm learning from that as well. So it's a thing where learning from that and understanding, okay, cool, I don't want to do the same mistakes that he's done. Because his selflessness got him in trouble as well. So giving more than he can give when he didn't have as well. Family going against him, stuff like that. And I was just thinking, wow, like, Dad, you need to chill. Like, not everyone wants the best from you. And then he just always told me, like, oh, whatever you have, give. I was thinking, wow, but why would I want to be broke, or why would I not want to have anything after I give to someone else? It's like, listen, God will replenish your heart and your problems. I was just thinking, wow, like, ever since he's told me that as well, it's just been a thing of like, from just his heart.
Just take it on board.
Take it on board, and that selfless act, man. Just literally trying to.
You said
It's
selfless
deep,
as well.
man.
I think you did.
bro.
I think you said selfless as well. I think it's
bro.
crazy how all you man kind of explained part of like one of the words that you said without necessarily like thinking about it. You did it subconsciously, like, kind of. It's kind of a bit crazy. So, if I bring it back to myself and sort of answer the question, mine's interesting because me and my pops, we've had a very interesting relationship in a sense where, like, in my earlier stage of life, similar to you, Oz, like, he was definitely someone that, like, was Superman to me, innit? Like, he used to, I'll ask him whatever question, he knows the answer, like, he knows, as in, you just be listening to something, I'll be like, oh, yeah, the answer's there, like, do you know what I mean? And I think that was part of what has made me sort of want to be someone that knows a lot, because he came across that way and whatever, and obviously, he's always been intelligent or whatever. Also, he's always, for me, as I was in my youth, been someone that's always kind of been like a hard worker. Always jugged. He was driving vans, he was a security guard, he was a taxi man. Like, when he first came to this country, like, trust me, similar to, like you said, innit, in a sense where I had stuff, but I didn't really quite realise what was going in to sort of make it exist. You know what I mean? And you don't really deep it now until sort of I'm now an adult of myself, of my own, and sort of I'm making ends meet for myself, and I'm realising that, wow. And then you're starting to deep some of the situations, like Michael said, wait, hold on, he had this, oh, okay, he was trying to, it makes sense, and you're like, rah, man actually did that, do you know what I mean? My dad knows London like the back of his hand now because of doing taxi man jobs, like left, right and centre. You'll just be anywhere like, yeah, you know how to connect the roads here, then you go here, bro, when did you come here, bro? But obviously, it's because obviously some of the times he spent just doing different things. I've also learnt sacrifice from him as well, in a sense where, like, to be able to really sort of, like, be a father, I think you kind of have to be fearless in a sense, and kind of, he really showed me that because, like I said, he was working as a security guard, and in his job, being a security guard, trying to jug for us and make money for us, he ended up getting stabbed, innit? So, in him being stabbed or whatever, obviously, like, it was quite serious. He had to, like, operation, all of that. I remember, like, bro, I was messed up about it because at the time I lived in South London and it happened in Canning Town, and my mum didn't drive. So whilst he was being operated on and whilst he was in the hospital, bro, I couldn't see my pops. Like, I remember I was young, innit? Some ladies from the church came to visit us, obviously, because, you know, obviously they heard the news or whatever. And they've asked me, yeah, like, you know, so how you doing, whatever. And I don't know what it was, bro. Something inside me just snapped, bro. Bro, I started crying, bro. I just started bawling, bro. So much, bro. I threw up. I threw up, bro. I thought he was dead. I thought he was dead, fam. I thought he was dead, fam. Honestly, like, I thought he was dead. So obviously, like, yeah, like, it was just sort of a big sort of thing that happened, like, in my younger days. And obviously, my mum was quite cool. So obviously, there was the day he came back home. She came pick me up from school, but she didn't tell me. I didn't know, innit? So she came pick me up from school. Like, she's just bare, like, happy. Her energy different, innit? Because obviously, ever since, bro, I remember she got the call. Her vibe was just, you get it. I was just that period. And I was young as well, but you can just read energy.
You can feel it, yeah.
So obviously, so she's come pick me up, and I can just feel something different. Obviously, I'm not thinking that, bro. I'm not gonna lie. At this point, I came to the conclusion that Pops is getting me. The situation is mad and whatever. So anyway, we're walking home or whatever. And obviously, like I said, these times I lived in a block of flats in South London or whatever. So we've gone, and you know, it's that one floor sort of situation. So I've put my bag down in my room. The door's closed in the living room. I was thinking, why has mom closed the door, bruv? Bust open the door. My dad's sitting on the chair like Ace Boogie with his bandages. Bro, honestly, bro, I ran up to bro, jumped in. My mom told him, cool off. Donnie still has to. And obviously, after that, he went right back out to jugging. Wow. He went right back out to jugging. Wow. It's not like he went right back out to doing the dangerous jobs that he's been doing. Obviously he eventually got a proper job working for Transport for London, and obviously that's where he's been ever since, and it's been patterned for him. But in those initial stages of life, he had to, like, really, and nowadays you see a lot of people deal with things and go through certain situations, and there's excuses as to why they can't, or like why they can't put themselves out there, bro. There was no, you have to
went
put
straight
yourself
back into the field.
back into it. You have to go and make the money. And for me, I didn't quite deep it back then when I was growing up, like, why certain things were happening. So then, obviously, fast forward to my later stage in life, we started clashing a little bit in a sense where I felt like, obviously I'm the oldest, so I felt like he was a bit overbearing, a bit overprotective of his team. But at this age of like being in secondary school and stuff like that, bro, it's just, bro, you don't want me to live my life. That's how I felt. But then when I moved past that stage and I got to my 20s, I realized that he's operating from a place of PTSD. Because he's feeling like, if a big man like me can get juked off by little boys, because they weren't men that stabbed him, they were kids that had knives. So if a big man like me, they can do that to me, how much more you, this little boy that, bro, I was a late bloomer, fam, so you can imagine, I look like a whatever. Yeah. Obviously he wants to protect me. I only now understand that a little bit as an older person, but there was a time when me and him were clashing bears because I was thinking, wow, do you know what I mean? Why is it like this? Because I feel like I get the protection thing, but this one is a bit too much. But I didn't really kind of deep it until later on in life. Now, well, obviously I'm a grown-ass man, so situation's different. But I think in trying to sort of understand why certain things happen within my relationship with my pops, it's kind of taught me a lot. Because my dad's like yours as well, in the sense where his dad died when he was 6. So he didn't have an example of what a pops was supposed to be. But from what he's shown me, honestly, like, I don't understand because there's no blueprint. There wasn't a blueprint. From what he's shown me, he's really tried to do his thing in terms of just God, like being an example. And it is God, because he's really into it, bro. He don't miss it. And he tells me it's not about a religion thing. It's the spirituality sort of thing. He don't miss church. Bro, my dad will do a night shift. Next morning, he's there going to church. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm not saying that means, but the point I'm trying to make is he's willing to sacrifice certain things because he understands what he's benefiting and where. So, you know, there's certain disciplines and certain things that I've just seen from him as I've grown up that now, as a man, I'm applying to my life subconsciously. Kind of like what you said about your pops. I don't even see that I'm doing it. I don't even see, people just tell me, oh, you're just like your pops. It's just natural because, like you said, it's not about what they tell you. It's about what you watch and what you're around. Trust me, you just naturally like do it. You will naturally just replicate it and do it. Do you know what I mean? So, from that perspective, for me, he was kind of like Superman, and then later on in life we clashed. But then now I kind of understand that it's not that he wasn't Superman. It's just that he's a human, so he has his emotions, he has his things that sort of, he wants to protect us, and it all comes out of love. But there was a period of time where, brother, me and him, it wasn't. But you know, like I said, we're on the other side of that now, and the relationship is much better, so I can say that, yeah, like, to me, he was Superman, and yeah. But anyway, yeah, cool. So then, for me, the last question I have then is, what do you envision your relationship with your children to be like? What sort of relationship would you like to have with your child?
Quick fire, go on.
Quick fire.
Oz.
Yeah, from your side.
Open. Fun.
Okay.
Creative.
Three. Just give us three. Yeah, open, fun, creative. Yeah.
I would just want them to know that I'm in their corner.
In their corner, love that.
Yeah, similar to these, man. I just want to like be an example, be transparent, give them that safe space, and just be able to convey, you know, like what God has shown me, but be understanding and not be too overbearing. Yeah. But just be able to show them about life and guide them and be able to receive from them, and then again in turn show them.
Nah, for real.
I think I just want to be a mirror of God's love to them. And I want them to really understand that I love them. Yeah, I think that would be my main thing.
And yeah, like for myself, I would say that, similar to Bissy, like I'd want to be able to impart some level of God love on them to where they sort of are wanting to build their own relationship. I think that's something that, for me, I need to get better with so that I can be able to achieve that. But I think that's a goal that I have for sure. And on that note, guys,
thank you guys. Thank you guys.
We are. It's be live.
I love it so much.
Comment and subscribe.
You can be serious.